Hello, hello. So today, I knew this video before, I saw it before, but now I realized how stupid it really was. Um, Wait. Oh, this is it. What the fuck is this?
Children should have the right to vote. And I don't just mean 16.
He's going to now do some really weird stuff like equivocation fallacy. See that? Like, it's about children having the right to vote, and there's so much wrong with that. Like, you know, of course, there are obvious arguments that parents will just manipulate them, but he completely ignores it. Like, no, I don't remember much from the video. I'm not some. I don't have installed memory on me like this computer has. So I'm just going to see exactly what he says and just debunk it. But look at this beautiful example of equivocation. Fallacy that you equate something to something that it is not.
And 17 year
Oh,
olds. I mean that a toddler should be able to toddle into a voting centre in a national election, cast a real ballot, and have that vote counted just the same as any other. I really believe this, and by the end of this video, I think you will too. Greetings, children and adult oppressors. I'm your host, Silly Conversations. In most countries, you need to be 18 years old to vote in national elections, and there are no countries where the voting age is lower than 16. Since this is such a universally accepted rule, we should start by discussing some of the obvious reasons for why children should not be given the right to vote. Number one, children aren't smart enough to understand political policy and decide which politicians to support. This is related to number two, children don't have the emotional maturity for voting, and they'll be easily swayed by propaganda. Number three, voting rights for children would cause division within family units, and besides, their family members with voting rights can already represent their interests. And number four, children don't actually want to be able to vote, and this isn't a real issue. Oh, hang on. Sorry.
like, just see. Look at this manipulation. This is like,
Yeah, I got my notes mixed up. Those were all actual, real reasons given to justify denying women the right to vote.
you see?
That's right. You've been tricked into agreeing with sexism.
No, I wasn't. I literally wasn't. Like, do I need to debunk it? Like, no, I think it's obvious that I wasn't, that you're just saying this to emotionally manipulate us.
But children actually aren't as smart or mature as adults. So that's obviously not true for all children. And
Yeah, because you're gonna tell me that a 3-year-old, um, you know, like the 3-year-old is more smart than a 20-year-old. And also, this is so stupid. The entire point he makes, just big strawman. He just makes everybody who disagrees with him a big strawman in this video. But you will see, you will see.
all adults. But even if it is true on average, we still run into a pretty serious threshold problem. If a pair of identical twins are born 10 minutes either side of midnight on the annual voter registration deadline, then there will be an election where one twin gets to vote and the other doesn't. For the younger twin, that means years of working, paying taxes, and obeying the law as an adult with no democratic representation, despite being the same biological age as their older sibling who got to vote. Okay, but that's a pretty weird edge case. Not really. In a large democracy like the US, hundreds of thousands of 17-year-olds will miss any given voter registration deadline by only a few days or weeks. Besides, intelligence in the population.
Hundreds of thousands. Okay, but millions, hundreds of millions will not. Does that compare to you? Like, okay.
is thought to lie on an approximately normal distribution. That's a bell curve that looks like this. Most people are in the middle, pretty average. Some are smart and some are not so smart. Even if humans experienced a sudden massive spike in brain power on the day they turn 18, which of course doesn't actually happen, in big countries there would still be millions of 16 and 17-year-olds who are smarter than the average adult. So, why don't we just move the voting age to 16? That's not the point. No matter where you put the voting age, there are still going to be millions of people who can't vote, despite being smarter and more mature than millions of people who can. If your plan is to prevent dumb and immature people from voting, then an age cutoff incorrectly.
Strawman. So basically, my like this entire thing will just fall apart at the end. Like just watch or just skip to the like end. I don't know. For now, just watch. Maybe I will debunk something and you will
Deprives
like it.
millions of people of their right to vote, which is fundamentally wrong and undemocratic.
Yo, they're right. What do you mean by right? So I have a right to murder somebody, right? Because if I'm going to choose some fascist government, then I also can kill somebody. Also, like if we are going to talk about this like that, this is democracy. This is the thing that you support.
Also, what do you even mean by maturity? The state, fact, or period of being mature. Oh, gee, thanks, Google. Cambridge Dictionary, what do you got? The quality of behaving mentally and emotionally like an adult. Okay, so the logic would be that children can't vote because they're not mature, and being children makes them not mature by definition. Cool. This argument that Group X don't have the right emotions to vote properly was super effective when applied against women, because it's so vaguely defined that it's impossible to disprove. Of course, in practice, one of the main reasons that many men didn't support giving women the right to vote was that it just seemed silly. Like, women voting? Women? There wasn't any real logic behind the opposition.
There is logic behind the opposition. There was like this comment that that if you are going to that if for example a member of your party or someone who supports it will throw a pizza party for toddlers, then they will vote on him or her. So still, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, of course, if I was like, I don't know, 10, I would vote for the same candidate as my parents without even thinking about it. I know that my example is like, nothing in comparison to. Okay, there is nothing here I wanted to comment. But, like, people write it in the comments that also all the children would do, which is also on their experience. So most of children, which is like I don't know how many percent, like above 10 or something like 10, would vote the same as their parents. This is so stupid.
So much as historical inertia. Similarly, the main reason that you were probably against giving children the right to vote until 5 minutes ago is just that you've never really thought about it before.
Of course, he just assumes that I will agree with his stupid ideas.
And on an emotional, gut instinct, non rational level,
Non-rational, because you are definitely rational, right?
that makes it seem silly. Just like women's rights seemed silly for men in the early 1900s. The core assumption of having an age or gender requirement for voting rights is that some people aren't smart or mature enough to vote correctly. But voting isn't something you can do correctly. Voting is how you exercise your basic right to be represented in government.
Basic right. Like, this is actually so much. You think that I use my emotions? No, you use your emotions because I'm gonna tell you something. You, democracy that you're talking about sucks. Like if you think that democracy is good, then you support genocide in Gaza, right? Because 70% of Israelis support, or at least would support if there were still hostages there. But you just admitted that you support a genocide, and also most Germans would probably support the Holocaust in like 1942. So you you just admitted that you support the greatest crimes committed by humans. Great job. Okay, maybe he would like say that you should elect a government that doesn't hurt anybody, but then still, it depends on your definition. And also, like, I am not for people to vote because, like, giving a communist a power to vote is like, as they said, to just give him the power to murder somebody. Or like, no, 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 no. Let's just think. If you're going to tell me that like systems that kill people for purpose are bad, then there will be still systems that kill people, not for purpose. Like, you know, if for example somebody established a communist state, then they would, then like Bolsheviks just peacefully would establish their state by democracy. And in Russia in 1920s, and then closed a Holodomor, uh, and then the people would die. You know what I mean, right? If somebody dies because of the, like, for example, what's happening in US, they elected Donald Trump. If you're going to use your argument that you don't support electoral college, but which I know you don't support electoral college, it's just so obvious. Um, like Donald Trump, he just cut millions of people of healthcare, and now thousands, at least, of Americans will die because of that. And then, should he still be electable? Like, what you're saying is very vague.
If I vote for Logan Paul and he immediately fills the municipal water supply with prime energy drink and loses the annual budget betting on a meme coin, he's still my representative. My vote for him does not become less legitimate because he made what other people consider
Okay, and my murder didn't become less legitimate because other people didn't support it. I have a right to feel this. How was it? Sewer with just the price drinking water with these energy drinks. So I have a right to also murder somebody because if I actually elected him, you know what I mean, right? Like, I tried to debunk it on the basis that he doesn't support the genocide, but now he just admitted he would support it. Oh my god.
to be bad decisions. If you fundamentally believe in democracy, then denying citizens the right to vote is bad.
Again, you are the one who just thinks with your fucking heart because you said, "Oh, you should believe in democracy." Why? Because it sounds good, or at least people who agree with you in the comments.
That's Democracy 101. Denying
What did you say? Fascism is bad, but most Americans, probably also Brits and Russians, support fascism and elect them in democrat. I mean, no, in Great Britain not yet, but Oh fuck! All right, I will fix it later. Uh, but they did, and they kill people. So I don't wanna hear it from you. You support fascism. Because if you're going to vote on, because if you gave an example that voting on Logan Paul is reasonable, then voting on Hitler would also be reasonable because he is your representative. Use your brain, not your emotions.
Is bad. That's Democracy 101. Denying them the right to vote because they're part of a group that you suspect, on average, have traits that will make them more likely to vote wrong is ridiculous and unjustifiable.
Pamiętasz czasy wielkich deali, obiadów na już i podboju kortów? Świetnie, bo sprzedaż
Also, not that it really matters, but for adults whose jobs don't require a lot of thinking, like YouTubers, school is often the most intellectually demanding period of our lives. Mathematics, science, history, languages. School is an intense daily brain workout, and when you graduate, that knowledge
Okay, so you said previously that kids have on average less IQ, and now you're saying that kids are smarter because they go to school. Pick a side.
starts to fade if you're not using it regularly. A big chunk of the population are probably the smartest they'll ever be while in school as teenagers. Even if it were justifiable to deny less intelligent
Again, you just showed us data. What the hell?
or less mature people the right to vote because they'll do it wrong, no one is suggesting we apply that logic to adults. Actually, I would support voter competence testing for adults if the exam could be designed fairly, maybe by a non-partisan committee who... Okay, cool. So
Strowman. This is the next just big Strowman.
from now on, only geniuses get to vote. What? Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't want average people voting. They only make average decisions. People love intelligence-based voting rights until it turns out that they're not smart enough to vote. Well, too bad.
Again, a Strowman. Like he says, you support the thing that will make you to not vote. Oh, you don't support you to vote. I support that you have a privilege to rule over your country. Like this is, the only way, the only thing that keeps still democracy alive is just that people feel just they want power, all right? They want power to rule this fucking planet, but they can't rule this planet because they are stupid and susceptible to propaganda.
I believe that voting is an intrinsic human right from which the state derives its legitimacy. But you
Okay, so I remember that he said that. I remembered. Okay, how? Like, explain how is this an intrinsic human right? Because you said so. Like, I know he will know.
disagree, so from now on, only the smartest 1% of geniuses get to vote. And hey, why not replace those people with AI?
Okay, no, now he started bragging about AI. So, no, voting is not an intrinsic human right. Just like murder is not an intrinsic human right. You can just do whatever you want. Alright? And yes, choosing who you want to rule is doing whatever you want. And that just sometimes it doesn't have to, but it does hurt people. Like if I had if I had to go to school, but there would be like 5% chance that or not 50% chance that I will hurt somebody on the way. Would you let me? No. Great.
The second it starts beating them on the voter smarty pants test. All hail government.io. Democracy schmocracy. Who needs the consent of the governed when you can optimize bureaucratic decision making, am I right? So what, you just let everyone vote? Yes. Every citizen who is capable of expressing a clear preference between candidates should have the right to vote. But how would child voting actually work in practice? It's not like they can drive to a polling centre. Okay, so number one, fundamental rights don't need to be convenient to justify their existence.
Yeah, no shit. You still didn't said why do you consider something that can hurt people a human right? Battle right. Like for making something dangerous and endangering someone with in endangering someone with their life, you would go to prison. But it's not like that in democracy. In democracy, when you actively elect a leader that then kills somebody, you, you are partially responsible. Do you get it?
And number two, have them vote in schools. Let political parties come in to give a little speech and distribute pamphlets in civics class during the election campaign. And make sure
This is like the next argument for children do not vote. They won't understand the subjects. They won't understand. Like they don't even pay taxes. So how could you like say to them that you hate taxes and then your parent like no, this is just so stupid. And no, I'm not being a sexist. Do you get it? I'm not discriminating anybody. I'm just using an actual data. Why?
to randomize the candidate order on ballots so that people who vote impulsively won't skew the results. Actually, we should really be doing that anyway, just in general. Look, I genuinely believe in democracy,
Because you're stupid.
not just as the least bad system of governance, but
Not the least bad system of government. The least bad. Everyone was during the government of his country directly or through freely chosen representatives. I partially agree. Only partially though.
as an intrinsic human right. It's messy and it's stressful, and in every country on earth, it needs serious reforms.
At least we agree to that, that if you want to implement democracy, it needs serious reforms.
But people have an absolute right to collectively control the
No, they don't. I don't know why I'm making that
government
voice.
that controls them, even if it would be more efficient to
It wouldn't be more efficient. It would just make everybody happier and have better lives.
put a cabal of geniuses or a super intelligent AI in charge. Efficiency is not the point.
Happiness is the point, not that you elect a leader, that you have consensus from the populace. This does not matter because the populace is just fucking dumb. Yes, I said it. I really think that way.
Universal suffrage. One person, one vote. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree. I'll hang around to debate with anyone who makes a particularly good counter argument. If you want me to respond though, I'd recommend keeping it short and focusing on one main point. Also, anyone who wants to say that old people shouldn't be allowed to vote because it's not their future, don't bother. Your views are cringe, discriminatory, and vaguely fascist.
So you just called everybody that disagrees with you vaguely fascist. You know who is vaguely fascist, actually? Some guy on YouTube named Silly Conversations. Yes, I said that I am not actually vaguely fascist. You are vaguely fascist because you support fascism if it's elected by the people and if it has consent from the people. You are actually vaguely fascist. You and discriminatory. What should I not? Like he assumes that we all just believe that modern and actually democracy at any sense is the best system. No, no, no. I actually can do a video about what I believe, but in short, I believe that people with experience in a field should rule this field. So, for example, economy will be run by economists. this is exactly what he actually, you know, described, but he doesn't support it for some reason because it needs to have consent from the people. Like this whole idea, if you look about it, it's so stupid. It's so dumb. It's it doesn't just feel wrong. It like is wrong for many reasons. Like I think that maybe we should like lower the voting age to like 14, maybe like 12 or 10. Please don't do this to 10. But you know, you know what I mean, right? We just. Okay, 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 okay. Relax. So what did he said about?
Discriminatory and vaguely fascist.
Okay, I'm still just
Don't bother, your views are cringe. Discriminatory.
cringe, cringe, cringe. Ah!